made the time to be here today for the second half here, where we'll be hosting some absolutely amazing speakers. We're your hosts for today. Even though we've ran into some logistics problems because of just the diaspora and the total dystopian society that we're living under this administration, particularly with the shutdowns. We've ran into some general strikes, much needed general strikes, but they've caused some airline delays and cancellations and things like that. So thank you so much for bearing with us while we work these out live in real time. Anyways, my name is Serina Cuza. I'm the AFP intern and I'm also co-chair for Students for Justice in Palestine, right here at San Diego City College.
And my name is Marco Guajardo. I'm the other co-chair for SJP, and I am a media student here at City College. Thank you all for being here. The room is packed. The first section was also packed. We had an incredible panel, which a lot of the topics that we touched on, our amazing speakers will touch on too, and you'll have a lot of information around labor work and all that kind of stuff. So the reason we're all here is because Palestine is the moral issue of our time. It has been, and it continues to be, and everything that we've seen the last 2 years in Gaza bears this out. Students for Justice in Palestine, the work that we do is driven by our moral values and our very real moral outrage at what's happening on our behalf, right? It's our tax dollars that are paying for this, and we're trying to find something to do about it. So this event is designed to bring together students, teachers, labor unions, Palestine organizers to see what we can do together as a movement and as US citizens to fight what's happening in our name in foreign lands under the boot of the empire. One of the biggest weapons that we have as Americans is the power of our labor and our purchasing power. And divestment from the complicity of American companies, of our government, is the biggest tool we have really right now. And that's one of the themes that we're bringing to this event. A good example of an alternative when you're trying to boycott certain products is a simple thing like soda. We're bringing in Palestine Pop when you get, or Palestine Cola. When you guys walk out, we're gonna have it. One of our SJP members is bringing cases as we speak. So hopefully you enjoy the Palestine Cola. It's really good. It's Palestinian owned, and we just wanted to plug it because it's kind of like the theme of what we're doing here today.
Here and get your Palestine Pop that means out these days. Before we go any further, for those who came for the second part, we want to again acknowledge the sponsors and just everyone who has made this event happen and who has helped make it possible. And first off being the Council on American Islamic Relations and the Center on Policy Initiatives, the American Federation of Teachers, which is our union here throughout our district, if you all are not aware, the City College English Department, the Chicano Studies Department, of course, the World Cultures Program. We as SJP, Marco and I, along with our members, we're a part of a global movement that refuses to lay down on behalf of the Palestinian resistance. And you might have noticed that we've been causing some good trouble all over campus these days. We're bringing a little bit of spice, but some of the work that we've been doing here on campus as SJP includes things like teach-ins, campus protests, DUPCA workshops, poetry events, and the passing of free speech and divestment resolutions along with the Academic Senate and other governing bodies. And that's all up and down the governance process. We also have been meeting with the Board of Trustees and other higher-ups, if you will. This is throughout the entire district. So our efforts are wide and well. We are working directly with district administrators to pass a viable ethical procurement policy that divests from companies that engage in human rights violations. Shame. And we're also incredibly proud to be working with campaigns such as CalSTR's Divest campaign, which we'll hear a little more about later, and hopefully you all can follow us over at the end of the event for CalSTR's Divest campaign. And whose lead organizer that we heard from earlier today, Christina, amazing. Yeah.
All right, so now I get to introduce our first speaker. This woman is a truly powerful Palestinian woman, an incredible leader in our community, and a pillar of the work that everything that she just mentioned that we've been doing at SJP. She's been our biggest ally and supporter, along with a lot of other faculty here that support us. Samar, she was a UCSD student and was allegedly involved in a very high-profile divestment resolution that got passed at the beginning of the current genocide, and allegedly involved in some very high-profile protests and actions that happened at UCSD with the students. She's currently on her path to law school. One of the most powerful speakers I've ever met. The first time I heard her speak here at City College when we invited her, I was blown away, and from that moment we never stopped inviting her over. We're extremely proud to present her as an introductory speaker for this event. Please welcome Samar Ismail.
First of all, thank you guys. Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very grateful to be here and to be in community with you guys. I want to give it up for the students again who continue organizing and putting in the work to make events like this happen and facilitating and creating community. So with that being said, it is such an honor to be here. I am Samar. I am a first-gen Palestinian. I am a student right now at SDSU getting my master's in public admin and applying to law school. So inshallah, it all goes well. I do want to start off my speech with a poem that I wrote because for those of you who don't know, what I wear around my head is called a hijab, which is a headscarf. And I started wearing it within the past year. I never felt more comfortable in my identity than now, contrary to popular belief. And this is about my first time traveling as a hijabi. And I was not subject to the best things. I call it terminal injustice, like double entendre, haha. Anyways, I stand at the gate watching them board. Tel Aviv bound. My ears begin to flood with a ringing sound, their laughter, their luggage, their children in a tow, as if they are tourists, as if they don't know. My stomach churns, my fists stay tight. How is it that they can walk so free and walk so light? Why do they go where my people bleed, where our mothers grieve, where tears never seem to cease? Nothing is vacational about stolen land. Nothing is sacred in blood-soaked sand. And yet they walk untouched, unscathed, while I am pulled aside, detained. I sear their faces into my brain. These men, these fighters, these murderers with names, men of fighting age, my guts twist tight. I know what they'll do by night. And yet it's me they stop. It's me the threat. All for this cloth I started wearing around my head. Cold gloves press, hands intrude, rough, invasive, nothing crude. It's just procedure. It's just the way. But I have never felt so stripped away, all while I watched the real threats roam and board their flights onto their way to my home. Of course, no pat-downs there, no second glance, just killers off to join the dance. I don't know what I want more, for them to never return, for them to never belong to the very land that they burn. Thank you. I said it in the last section. I make this joke all the time. Palestinians cannot go 5 minutes, not even JK, 5 seconds, without dropping, "Hi, I'm Palestinian." You know? I think it's kind of seared into us because existence is resistance. My identity, no matter how hard they try and disperse us as diaspora, despite never living there, I carry my identity proudly, and it has led me to every opportunity that I have had. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Lord. Because in a million years, if you told me this is what I get to do, I wouldn't have believed you. It's so silly, and I'm genuinely honored to be able to share my story with you guys because, again, so thankful. Thank God for every opportunity I've had, but it seems as if I've been prepped my whole life to lead me here. For example, funny enough, all my life I worked my butt off to go transfer from high school into school. What happened? COVID, damn, pandemic. And I was like, oh, cool. So let's see what happens. I ended up at community college. I ended up learning so much, decided to pick up a major in communications, and that's where I took my first public speaking class. Funny enough, I got recruited into speech and debate. And that's how I started, getting a lot of the public speaking skills, alhamdulillah, that I have. And I ended up at UCSD. My whole life, my dream school was UCLA. Dream school, I was like, yes, I want to be a Bruin so bad, because it's right there too. I grew up in the LA area, but SD on top. I'm standing on that. Yeah. I ended up, when I was deciding between schools, it was between UC San Diego and UC Santa Barbara because UCLA waitlisted me. I mean, whatever. We'll come and get them later. But what happened was I ended up signing my lease in San Diego. And funny enough, the day I signed my lease, UCLA said, congratulations, you are off our wait list. I didn't go. I just felt so good at UC San Diego. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm supposed to be here. I actually chose UCSD for the intention of SJP. And my first event, Students for Justice in Palestine, my first event on campus, you do the introductory thing, and I did the typical 5-second joke, hi guys, I'm Samar, I'm Palestinian, and I hope to make a splash in the SJP. And that's kind of funny because a lot of my friends bring it up later on down the line, hey, didn't you say that? That's kind of crazy. And when I took it, I didn't know much about divestment, but I knew I wanted to divest, allegedly. Actually, whatever, I did it, yeah. And, community and so many wonderful students by my side, it would have never happened. And I ended up, I was like, yes, I want to do it. And the first year, it just spent in community, getting to know people. And I ended up in so many classes that I would have never expected to take had I not been a comms major. I took classes that gave me insight on Palestine. Every single final project and midterm I did was about Palestine, regardless of the political science class or whatever it may be. I figured out a way to tie Palestine into it, so it allowed me to learn Palestine like I never have before. Alhamdulillah. Which leads me, I'm gonna fast forward to October 7th, my second year at UC San Diego, okay? I, again, got recruited into speech and debate. I continued doing it, and my first year at UCSD, I qualified for nationals, and I placed 8th in the nation. Alhamdulillah, thank you, Lord. And I wanted to work my butt off to get higher ranking, and I was the first student in UCSD to advance to nationals, which is, I'm so lucky. This has a point in the story. And I was able to do that, and I was so shook, but I was upset that I got 8th. And I was like, I'm gonna work my butt off the following year to get first. I wanna go for the gold. And October 7th happened, and I slowly started backing away from speech and debate. I was teaching more. And luckily, because I took those classes my first year, I was able to educate in this way, right? And that's when I really started putting my faith in God in so many things. And I was praying all the time. I was like, God, I know I haven't been practicing, please, let me do the nationals thing, yada, yada, yada. The last meet to qualify, you needed to win a set amount. I slept in for the first time ever. I was so tired, and I missed my first round. And I was crying the entire time, and I was like, why would God do this? So that's a point later on. I was like, why? What's going on? And I was only 1 round short from qualifying and making it to nationals. And it broke my heart, and I kept kicking myself in the foot, and I was like, I put all this faith, what? Fast forward. Mind you, when you register for classes, you have to register when? A whole entire quarter before, a whole semester before, right? You guys know how this works. In my fall quarter, I registered for a policy writing class in winter quarter. I had also, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, it's just everything was lining up. If I had not had my speech and debate skills in junior college, I wouldn't have been able to talk and organize that same way. I took so many classes about social movements my first year at UCSD. How do you think I learned those tactics? UCSD taught them to me, it's their own system. Anyways, fast forward to Divestment Day. Okay, this was March 6th of 2024. Biggest protest in UCSD history. The students did that. The students showed up. Thousands of students came out in support of this. The campaign was coming into full effect. Remember how I told you I signed up for a policy writing class? Guess what? My professor was a former legislator who gave me insight on how to write my divestment policy effectively. See how it lined up? That was just like so mind-blowing to me. And she gave me such wonderful insight that ultimately led to the divestment bill passing. March 6th, right? I found out that day my team was leaving for the national tournament that day. Had I qualified, I know myself and I know I would have put in my whole life and spirit into that rather than divestment. And it makes me think of the alternate events that could have transpired had I not, had I just believed in God's plan that there's something way better out there, right? And it's so shocking to me how that, just literally down to the exact date. And if I was consumed with speech and debate, would we have divested? I don't know. Allahu Ya'lam, only God knows, right? And it's yeah, I faced my own share of adversities, in school-wise, but it's made me the person who I am today. And I wanted to say that all of these has led me to become the activist that I am today. And the type of activist that I am, and I'm so utterly grateful. And I'm saying that because I didn't know that when I came to UCSD that this was gonna happen. I didn't know jack squat about an encampment or how to organize one. I am just a girl, literally just a girl, seriously. And it's just well, okay, here it goes. And then it just happens. And alhamdulillah, thank you, Lord, for these opportunities, right? But every one of you has that story involved, and I feel like I'm living in my purpose to be able to be walking and feeling like every single step in the past, no matter how icky or wrong it felt in the moment, has led me to where I am today. Alhamdulillah. So I say this and I pride in this because no matter how sucky it may feel in the moment, and you'll be like, what the hell? What's going on? It's gonna lead you somewhere. If I told my younger self, hey, sobbing, that you're not going to UCLA, but you have this so much better in store, I'd be like, okay, sign me up. So it's remember that now, because I know how it feels how many of you guys are community college students here? It's probably majority, yeah? I know how funky it feels to be in a transitional limbo, but you will end up exactly where you're supposed to be. Truly, truly. Every single thing is supposed to happen and will lead you. And I hope that what you can walk away from this conversation with me is that you guys have a purpose and have your own way of activism. This is just how mine looks. Mine is about educating and sharing and teaching, and you guys are capable of being that. This is not limited to me. All of you are capable of teaching. If you can change one person's mind, do you know where that one person will end up? No. You are capable of doing that. So yes, that's how I became an activist. I do want to share a little story about how, as a Palestinian and traveling into the West Bank, because I was born here, I have an American citizenship, I have the American passport, but I also am a dual citizen. I am a citizen of Palestine. I have a Palestinian passport. Alhamdulillah. I have a Palestinian passport and I have a Palestinian green ID. And you might be looking at me what the hell is a green ID? Well, funny enough, apartheid comes in many colors. Green is for West Bank citizens, where my family resides. Blue is for people who live in Jerusalem, who are technically Israeli Palestinian. Yellow for workers who come in from Jordan or from the West Bank, and mostly Gaza is full of yellow IDs. And there's red too, which is also given to Gazawis. So honestly, vulnerable time, how many of us know what apartheid means? Does anyone not know what it means? Okay, apartheid means having a complete different menu of rights. There was an illegal apartheid state in the 60s, apartheid South Africa. Essentially, the Afrikaans, essentially Dutch people, came into South Africa, colonized it, and it's segregation, but two parallel societies, one subject to military rule, one subject to democracy, right? So that's what's happening in Palestine right now. When I want to go to Jerusalem, I should. As an American, I have my passport, but I have a slight little caveat. I am a Palestinian American. So what do? You're not allowed in. And purposely, I don't fly into the airport because I would rather die than do that, but might have to, because they will torment you. They purposely do that to dissuade Palestinians from going and visiting and reconnecting with their homeland. It's a tactic. They will make it unbearable. I have sat, and I can tell you, hundreds of Palestinians, when they travel, have had excruciating travel experiences, and it's by design. They herd us like animals, separate us with fences, humiliate us with the pat-downs. What's in the United States is like literally a drop in the bucket of what's like the reality in Palestine, done by the IDF. But I really wanted to go. I'm gonna go to one of the cities it's a beach city. It's called Haifa, and I've never been. I have never been to any of the beach cities which are on the western side. And we should have been able to go because we have American passports. And we got singled off the bus. And mind you, I've gotten dragged off by my hair. Like literally by the ponytail off the bus. And I can't remember the age. I was like 14. I was 14 at the time. And I was with my dad and my brother. And they take us off. And they start interrogating us. I kind of talked about it in the first session. And they separate me from my dad. So I'm just a 14-year-old, and there's 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds on power trips with AK-47s, literally the length of me at the time, looking at me down and telling me, your passport is fake, and like shitting on me and saying that like I can't go in, and like threatening to detain me. And it was so horrifying seeing them hold up a gun to my dad and separate me from him. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like literally what? And thankfully at the time, I had my like little wallet that had all my existence in it, like every library card, school ID. Like you guys know which ones I'm talking about, right? And I look funky as hell in that one too. So it's just like, I'm like taking out one ID after the other, and I'm like, can you read this? Do you know California, Hollywood? Do you know, like this is my state? Like, trying my best, and she's like, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. And I'm like, what the hell do I do? And so, thankfully, I kept arguing. I start like Googling whatever I can about US state law, mind you, 14. Don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm like, I have a right. Anyways, they end up letting us go. Me and my dad end up meeting up, and we just give up, and they're like, oh, sorry, technical difficulties. Like, it was our bad, but we can't let you in still. Sold our losses, cut our losses and whatever. It was traumatizing nonetheless, but it taught me the importance of speaking up, and that kind of was like a radicalizing moment in my life, I'd say. Another time is I was trying to go to Jerusalem. I actually went this year to Palestine, but I wasn't let into Jerusalem. So I'm gonna start off with the time in 2019. I went, same thing, singled off. You can't go in, yada, 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 yada. Despite me having an American passport, you hear the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, just vote. Like, literally, let me off. And we start standing outside of this little convenience store outside of Jerusalem. There's a city called Hizma. It's right outside of the massive border, and they have these massive apartheid walls that divide the cities, okay? So in order to get into Jerusalem, it's literally like a fortress, okay? It's called the Allenby Crossing. And we're sitting outside this village. I'm sitting in a little convenience store, and we're crying. The guy sees us and he hears us about what our situation is, and he's like, just wait. There will be an Israeli taxi driver who will come, he'll take you. Because apartheid society, if you have an Israeli license plate, which is yellow and not the green Palestinian one, you're let in, no sauce. And mind you, I wasn't a hijabi back then, I was blonde. And this little Prius shows up. Funny enough, the Israeli driver, his daughter is from the valley where I grew up. Small world, right? Weird. And he kind of felt bad for us, and he took us in, but he's like, one condition. Me, sits in the front, because I looked the most Israeli at the time. And my mom, my dad, and my two brothers squished in the back of a tiny little Prius, and off we went, and we snuck in, and we made it into Jerusalem. And alhamdulillah, I got to go before. But not every Palestinian is lucky. I need you to remember that there are people who live within 5 minutes of Jerusalem and have never been. Never even have gotten as close as I have, right? And that's the reality of apartheid. Now fast forward to 2025. I want to go to Jerusalem. I have inshallah, I still want to go really badly. And I finally got to go to Palestine. I'll actually start off before that. I went to the West Bank. My family's village is called Anabda. Aina, the root of the name, means grapes. My village is the village of the grapes because we have wonderful grape seasons. They're currently building a settlement around my village called a Nava. And it's slowly growing and expanding and coming down the hill into our village. And you know how they market it? If you were to look right now on Anava, Israel right now, mind you, it's an illegal settlement. It's a vineyard. Come and enjoy some wine. And it's totally not stolen Palestinian land. Come and check it out. It's beautiful. What the hell? You know, they can't even change the names. Funny enough, they actually hired a committee to do that, to Judify the landscape. A special committee when they occupied Palestine to look at the names, look at the maps, and see, how can I come up with a Hebrew name or an angelicized name that sounds ethnic like this village, you know? The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, how many of you guys know that him? You know, he changed his name, his last name's Milikowski, and he changed it to become more Fertile Crescent-like. What the hell? That's cultural appropriation final boss. Anyways, we went to the West Bank, and it was my first time being super cognizant of what's happening, right? Because I've been in 2019, and that was before Sheikh Jarrah. But 2025, I was like, no. I need to be so intentional. And I took pictures of my grandfather's tiles. My grandpa was actually one of the first academics in Palestine. He was actually some of the first generation to get education in Palestine. Super big on that. And he was actually born in the 1920s. That was my paternal grandpa. And I was able to see his house. I saw my paternal great-grandfather's house, whose house was built in the 1860s. And to see that and to know that this is my fromness was life-changing. To be connected to that, to understand that, wow, in an alternate world, I'm supposed to be on this very piece of land. And I know, it was just so crazy being there because despite everything that's happening less than an hour and a half, 2-hour drive away, I have never felt more at peace. Even if I saw massive tankers driving through and kidnapping kids, which happened, I felt at peace because it's just this is what I'm doing it for, you know? And I brought up how my grandpa was an academic and he had all these books. Funny enough, in this very room, I met Angela Davis here, about 2 years ago. And Angela Davis has always played such a big role in my activism career because her books really changed my worldview. And her first place that she's ever gotten arrested was at UCSD, yup. And so when I went and I saw my grandfather's book collection, he had an Angela Davis book. Mind you, I didn't meet my grandpa. I only met him once when I was 2. Because he was born in the 1920s, Allah yarhamu. And when I saw that book, I was shook. Because my grandpa, who's never left his little old village in Palestine, knew about Angela Davis and knew about UCSD before I even was an idea. And that blew my mind into open up the book and to see his notes and to know that he was still, and I was just whoa. Shook. Started a book club, read Freedom of Constant Struggle. If you guys want to be in it, let me know. Education is power, straight up. Anyways, it was so awesome to see that and to experience that. And I kept wanting to take in more, just see the lifestyle, the land, how they take and cultivate the olives. We're about to come into olive season. It was beautiful. And I'm so privileged to have done that. And I was I really want to go to Jerusalem. I'm really feeling it. I need to go. I need to be on that land. I need to take it all in. I go. We get stopped, of course. Surprise, shocker. We try all the books in the tricks in the book. My dad wasn't with me this time, but he used to pull over an IDF soldier because remember, they're literally our age, but with a power trip and wielding a massive weapon. And he'd be look my daughter in the eyes and tell her she can't visit her family. That's what he's done. It's been successful in the past, but not this day. We tried that. We tried please, I'm American, yada, 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 passport, freedom, eagle, screech, didn't work. And then we went to the same little village. Actually, funny story, I got a marriage proposal when I went. So, may have not gone into Jerusalem, but I got a marriage proposal. I went and I was waiting outside of the little convenience store, same guy. And he's calling up all these Israeli taxi drivers that he knows. They have this little business that they go on, yada, yada, yada. But even all the Israelis that day were saying no. And we were what the hell's going on? And mind you, I have never seen so much security force in my life. It was a fortress, locked down. I mean, it typically is, but the amount of police there was insane. There's probably 5 guards per person. And I was what the hell? And they're not even willing to take us even though their cars don't get stopped. Turns out that day, They were stopping every single car, even if they're Israeli, to see if they have anyone. And then when I left, I figured out why. That was the day they actually sacrificed the cows. They're like, oh, it's like a test run, but it turned out to be the real deal. So had I come a day before, I would have probably made it in. But yeah, they're like sacrificing cows for some kind of ritual, bringing on your Messiah. Yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you more. Anyways, that was happening that day. Couldn't make it in. But it genuinely galvanized me again because, you know, seeing everything on a daily basis, like, mind you, all of you, it is not normal to see this level of violence on a daily basis. It is not normal to see these ICE raids. The videos that we see coming out of these ICE attacks, the same things that we see happening in Gaza, it's not normal for our human brains to see this violence on a daily basis, okay? And they're trying to, like, numb you to it, right? And, you know, sometimes you feel so hopeless, but this trip, alhamdulillah, reignited something in me. And I'm like, I'm gonna come back and hit the ground running. Like, I was privileged to even be in the vicinity of that border, right? So, it's so important for us to understand the moment we're in, okay? I'm gonna bring it back to the now. That was a lot about me, sorry guys. And I need you all to understand that the time you're living in has happened before in history. The Vietnam War was the first televised war. The first time the Americans are seeing the freedom and democracy that we're bringing, and they're like, wait, what the hell is this? Like, literally, what is this? And that's when you started seeing the protests and the student movements. The encampments, they happened in the Vietnam War. They happened during apartheid South Africa. But the level that we are all watching right now, the mass traumatization that's happening of society, is not normal. You have to be cognizant of that and the effects that it has on your brain and how you carry on. Let it be something that fuels you, please. Please know that these people share these stories for you to advocate for them. You are supposed to speak for those who can no longer speak. How many of you were here earlier in my talk? Okay, I'm gonna re-quote the Stokely Carmichael thing. How many of us don't know who Stokely Carmichael is? Okay, he was a I need you all to, if you can take away one thing from me, please let it be this. Stokely Carmichael was a very prominent Trinidadian activist during the civil rights movement. And he ultimately played a massive role in it. And he has this one little rant that I'm gonna kind of like quote, but not verbatim. And I need you to understand this. He says, how is it as the United States that we are the most technologically advanced, most free society, yet we are so confused? We are so confused why the United people around the world hate us. We are so confused, but if you look and examine it, you understand why. It's because as Americans, we are irresponsible. We are irresponsible with our duty to humanity. We are irresponsible about where our tax dollars are going. We are irresponsible where our money is coming from. It's because we have a duty to uphold to humanity, but if you analyze the money, our taxes are paying for the bombs. Who funded the Iraq War? Who let it happen? Who's dropping the bombs on Palestinians? Who's funding it? It's us. And we're irresponsible. We don't look. We have a duty. Everything is connected from ICE to Palestine to Sudan to Congo. Imperialism lands at the heart of it. And Israel stands for everything empire stands for. That's why when we say free Palestine, it means freedom for all. And you have a responsibility to uphold for humanity because every single one of you is a vessel of change in your own way. Find your route of activism. And you contribute to this because if you accept genocide as the standard over there, it will come knocking and land on your doorstep here. The same way starvation happened in Gaza, starvation's happening in here. The same violence that you see in Gaza and in Palestine, you will see here, and we have when they dismantled the encampments. Stand up now because we have a duty. We also have the opportunity to create change. So find it. You guys got it. Thank you all for your time. Free Palestine. Long live Palestine.
Long live Palestine.
Thank you so much, Samar, for your amazing story about your experiences and just everything that you've done, all of the work around Palestinian liberation. Let's give it up one more time for Samar. Thank you so much. for sharing your story, Samar. Now, welcoming up the person you've all been waiting for, someone who is an absolute cultural icon and has broken through a multitude of barriers as an activist and renowned labor leader, originally from New Jersey, who started with leading a protest from Amazon workers, or for Amazon workers in 2020, and founded the Amazon Labor Union in 2021 and the Congress of Essential Workers. His work in organizing Amazon set an absolute precedent for what all laborers should expect from their workplace. Safe working conditions, good benefits, a livable wage, and not to be comfortable with institutionalized unionism. He motivates us as the people to fight for more than the bare minimum, otherwise known as bread and butter unionism. Labor work led into Palestinian activism, as labor and liberation are very much intersectional and at the forefront of the fight for justice everywhere, worldwide. He has traveled worldwide to places like Cuba, where he witnessed the effects of the US blockade, met with the Cuban workers and citizens, and showed solidarity with their struggles for the May Day, otherwise known as International Workers' Day, delegation in 2023. Chris was on board the Handala, an aid ship, during the Freedom Flotilla in an attempt to break the illegal Israeli blockade of Cuza. The coalition risked his life, y'all. The coalition's mission was to bring immediate and life-saving aid, such as baby formula, food, and medicine, to the Palestinian people. His experience in Cuza showed labor that it needs to be doing more to put an end to this genocide. He was one of the first labor leaders to speak out about the genocide and use his platform to encourage others to join in on this movement. He is now doing work to improve labor efforts here in the US, in our home, as he puts pressure on the AFL-CIO to engage in passing divestment resolutions so that hopefully California can take the lead, as we have in Yes for Prop 50, and Long Island, to take the leading, setting precedent for the rest of the nation. So finally, the man we've all been waiting for, it is our absolute honor to welcome up to the stage, Chris Small.
What's up, y'all? Clap it up for myself, dude. I just want to start off by saying fuck Trump because I actually see I'm here, y'all here. It's a beautiful day, and it's another day that we can fight together. So I'm happy to be here for the first time. Thank you for inviting me. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun facts about the journey that I took that just started 5 years ago. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I got some time today, so yeah, let's start from the 5 years ago. I was fired from Amazon for leading a walkout over COVID-19. If y'all remember the pandemic, it was one of the most deadliest times in modern times, and people in New York City were dying every 15 minutes. We were the epicenter of the world. This is before the vaccine, before massive testing, before people had access to PPE, masks, etc. And working at Amazon for 5 years as a supervisor, I opened up 3 warehouses for them. New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Staten Island was my 3rd building. And I spent 60 to 70 hours with these workers, thousands of workers. Every day, 10 to 12 hours a day, I'm with these workers. More time than I spend with my actual family. If y'all work at Amazon, then you know what I'm talking about. 60, 70 hours a week. And then you have the second job, because we already know that working at Amazon or working at any one job is not enough to make ends meet. So during the pandemic, Amazon made the most money it's ever made in its 30 years existence.
Great.
Jeff Bezos made the most money he's ever made as a CEO, the former CEO. Right. And I'm gonna tell you how much he was making during the pandemic. While workers were being sick, workers were dying. Jeff Bezos was making $13 billion a day, $9 million an hour, $5,000 a second. Right? But it gets better. Because for him, be the richest man in the world at the time, and have a conversation about little old Chris Smalls, that's true worker power. I'm somebody from the bottom of the totem. Not only that, the day they fired me, for speaking out about COVID-19, I became the Amazon whistleblower. My face was all over the news. I was catapulted into the media spotlight, and one day my life changed forever. But the day they put me on national TV was the day I cost Amazon, cost them $4 billion. Just imagine, if I didn't speak out, if I didn't speak truth to power, if I didn't tell the public, tell the workers what was going on, imagine how many tens of thousands of workers would have lost their lives during the pandemic.
True.
And we're talking about a company that employs 2.5 million people worldwide. 1.5 million workers here in the US. So this company was going to continue business as normal, making as much money as he was making, and wasn't going to tell the workers anything, and wasn't going to tell the public the truth. That we were unprotected, going to work, deemed as essential workers, and we weren't really delivering essential items, and we were putting our bodies and our lives on the line for Jeff Bezos. So, whenever your employer, your boss, whoever, puts you in these type of situations, there's no Calvary coming for you. We have to step up and hold them accountable. So that's exactly what we did. Let her walk out. 2 hours after that walk out, I was fired. Once again, I ended up on MSNBC at 8 o'clock, March 30th. And I'll never forget, the anchor was Chris Haynes at the time, and the producers calling me, and they said, I don't know who the hell you are, but Amazon's called us 30 times trying to get you removed off the program. So I was like, no, hell no, you gotta get me going. And they did. And for the first time, once again, not only did I cost the company $4 billion, but every worker was notified for the first time ever that they had positive COVID-19 cases in their buildings. Let's imagine that, right? Could you imagine being at work and getting this text saying that people had been in your building positive? So, fast forward. A week later, it's even better. Jeff Bezos was obsessed with me now. I'm on the news. I'm talking my shit. I'm telling every major media outlet the truth. And Jeff Bezos calls his team together, his corporate team, and they have a meeting about me. Remember, I told you he makes $9 million an hour. So I'm costing him $9 million to have a meeting about me. And have 1 hour. And in that meeting, he said, not smart or articulate, says to make him, Chris Smalls, the face of the whole unionizing efforts against Amazon, Instead of us answering questions about health and safety for the umpteenth time, signed by Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. Somebody in our room disagreed with it, so they leaked it to the media. And when I saw that quote come out and saw that Jeff Bezos signed off, because this was going to be their plan. And the reason why I tell you this is important, because for one, him saying that I'm not smart or articulate is a stigma that's been deemed on the working class for a very long time. They say that we're not smart enough or articulate enough to talk about work-related issues or any issues. They want the workers at the bottom to pretty much shut the hell up and go to work and do their job. Don't say anything. It's a corporate model. And especially in the black community, they say that black men, we're not smart enough or articulate enough to talk about anything. So it was racist, straight up. And it pissed me off and motivated me and then activated me to get more active. So not only did he say I'm not smart or articulate, he said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts when I wasn't even trying to unionize. So I said, guess what? That's a good idea. Gave me the idea. They did that. So, right after that came out, I started my nonprofit called the Congress of Essential Workers, TCOEW, and we protested in front of every Jeff Bezos mansion in America. East Coast and the West Coast. Starting in New York City, in front of his $140 million penthouse. Then we went down to DC to his $28 million penthouse. We went to, y'all might have remember, I did a protest in Beverly Hills in front of his $165 million mansion that is now owned by Jay-Z and Beyonce for $200 million. Right. It's all connected. Billionaires, right? Mm-hmm. And also protested in Seattle at his first house, $28 million, another $28 million mansion. Next door neighbors is Bill Gates, so I found that out. I was like, all right, we can stop here too and protest in a way. And, you know, one of his mansions, the one in Beverly Hills, he got 16 bathrooms. I don't know how many shits you gotta take a day, but nobody needs 16 fucking bathrooms. But anyway, did that for about a year. And simultaneously, there was a campaign in Bessemer, Alabama. Y'all might have heard of it. Yeah. They tried to unionize, and everybody was talking about it. It was a real hot topic in the media. A lot of politicians, Bernie, AOC, all of these progressives going down to Alabama, a right-to-work state. I'm thinking they're going to win. They had celebrities. They had Killer Mike. They had Nina Turner. They had everybody out there. So I said, okay, let me go see what that's about. And the reason why I tell my story this way, because I want to tell y'all something, if you couldn't tell already. 5 years ago, I was not an organizer. I wasn't an activist. I wasn't a trade unionist. I wasn't even doing any of this. I was probably in the club partying. To be honest. Actually, I was. No. And I say this because if you would have told me in 5th grade on career day that I can look as cool as a rapper and be a union president, I'd have been doing this shit a long time ago. So I'm saying this because, once again, 5 years ago, I wasn't trying to organize a union. And when one door closes, another door opens. And when they fired me, I had no answers to what to do. Just like anybody who gets fired from a job, they always say, get fired, go find another one, right? But we're talking about the pandemic. We're talking about me being a whistleblower. My face is all over the news. What job is going to hire me? Nobody. So the only thing I could have done was 2 things. Sue the hell out of them, which I did. But don't clap because it got dismissed. Or organize. And I chose to organize. I knew that was the only real justice I was going to get, was organizing against Amazon and continuing my advocacy for workers' rights. So, Alabama, we drove 16 hours from New York City down to Alabama to learn about that campaign, what was going on. And we learned that the workers were really afraid. Alabama, that building has 6,000 workers, 85% black and brown, 80% black women. And Amazon spent $20 million successfully stopping that campaign. The workers were so afraid they wouldn't even want to talk to us. We watched, we stayed down there for days as workers would walk past us, walk past the union organizers, not really have a relationship with them. And we said, we'll see what the results are, but despite what happens here, we're gonna try in Staten Island. And that's exactly what we did. Unfortunately, they lost their election on April 19th. And on our favorite holiday, 420, that's right, the Amazon Labor Union's birthday is 420. We started on 420 in 2021. And my union was completely disregarded from the labor movement. No major union wanted to even talk to us. No major union supported us. No politician, no Bernie, no AOC came to visit us. Nobody believed in us. They thought that I saw some article, they thought that we were a circus fire with a dumpster fire. They thought that Amazon was going to crush us, that Amazon's unorganizable, that this is not going to work. They even said that we are going to set back the labor movement. Yeah, right? The labor experts said this. Professors, academics, they all said that. They wrote us off. They didn't give us a chance. But they didn't know who the hell I am. Because I don't like losing. I'm a sore loser. So for 300 days, I set up an encampment outside of the same building that fired me. At a bus stop. And every single day, rain, shine, hot or cold, night or day, I was out there talking to workers, earning their trust, building relationships, breaking food, breaking bread, educating them on what a union is. Getting cursed out for being in New York. All of the motion did that for 11 months with a GoFundMe. No major money, no backing, just pure will and determination to fight. Meanwhile, Amazon is spending over $20 million. They're using the NYPD to arrest me and my comrades. They put our workers in over 3,000 captive audiences throughout that 11 months. Just imagine you come in every day and for 1 hour, you gotta come in a room like this and hear about little old Chris Smalls across the street in the Amazon Labor Union and how you need to vote no. And the person who's telling you this is a millionaire who's being paid $10,000 a day for 24/7. Because Amazon don't close except for the 8 major holidays. So you don't even know your job assignment. It's your first day of work at the warehouse and you're being told to vote no in the union. And they did this over 3,000 times. With all of this, despite everything that Amazon did, we were able to win. Now, Amazon calculates profits. They calculate how much money they make, how much people they hire, how many people they fire, how much robots they need to replace us with. But one thing they could not figure out is grassroots organizing. And on the day we beat Amazon, we had $2.50 in our account. True story. And people want to know, how the hell did y'all beat a $2.2 trillion company The answer's right here in this room, y'all.
No amount of money can amount the power of people when we come together. It's that simple. It's that simple, y'all. The formula is right here in this room.
You guys can take on any corporation because they don't understand grassroots. They don't understand our communities. I know for sure I can pack a box faster than Jeff Bezos. I know I opened up 3 warehouses for Jeff Bezos. He didn't know that I was one of the most popular supervisors that he ever hired. I was cool as hell. Everybody knows me. Because exactly what you see here is how I worked at Amazon. Those who don't know, yeah. I would come in there as is and do my thing, and they couldn't tell me anything because I knew more than the management. So I had a lot of liberties and freedoms there. And my skill sets of me being an independent rapper, being a people's person, being charismatic, that carried over when they fired me. When they said make him the face, they picked the wrong but the right person. I was ready for the moment. And all the things that I learned at Amazon, I actually applied to my organizing. One of the principles that they have on every warehouse, they have 14 principles. And my favorite one was disagree, have a backbone, and commit. I said, yeah, that's a great one. But they hate it when you use it against them. But I said, it's your principle. I have the right to use this. And what it means is you disagree with what's going on. You have a backbone to stand up to it, and you commit yourself to seeing change. The commitment is the hard part. And another principle they say is see it, own it, and fix it. You see the problem, you own up to it. Now it's your responsibility to fix it. Once again, going back to commitment. People join movements, they get burnt out, and they get spit right back into the machine. It happens all the time, every day. We see it right now. But when you fight for these working class issues, guess what? You signed up for a lifetime contract. Just like our ancestors who died, who paved the way, who came before us. They fought their entire life. And still, some of them, or majority of them, weren't even able to see the fruits of their labor. So when I walked out of Amazon 5 years ago, I signed up for something for the rest of my life. Because, and not just me, this is your fight as well. 1 out of every 4 Americans is going to work at Amazon. Raise your hand. How many of y'all work at Amazon? Great. How many of y'all know somebody who work at Amazon? See the difference? 1 out of every 4 Americans is going to work or know somebody who worked there or be related to somebody who worked there or going to have children that's going to grow up and work at Amazon. So my fight is your fight. The Amazon labor union's fight is your fight. They own 75 different companies. So can't avoid them. You may not work for Amazon, but you probably do. Don't even know it. But how does Amazon tie into this genocide? They got everything to do with it. Did y'all know that Amazon Web Services is the same intelligence that's being used to target and surveil and kill innocent Palestinians? Yeah, it is. It is a shame. And I'm gonna tell you how I got there. So yes, after 11 months of campaigning, the workers had an option. They voted to become the first union in American history for Amazon workers in Staten Island. Until this day, unfortunately, it's sad to say that we're still the only building in the entire country that's unionized. Yeah. That's it. It's only one, and that's my building. Right, and it started with the Biden administration. I'm gonna get there. So yeah, y'all remember, we made history April 1st, not April Fool's Day. And every progressive that didn't show up, they showed up now. Here come Bernie, here come AOC, here come all the progressives from the squad. They all pulled up to Staten Island. They all took pictures with my Amazon workers, with my union, with me. Bernie invited me to Congress. I had the shit on Lizzie Graham. Y'all might have seen that. And then that same day, they invited me to the White House to meet the former President, Joe Biden. Yeah, I'm about to tell you what happened. Yeah. My version, not the one they put out there. And in that room, with Joe Biden was Kamala Harris across the table, the Secretary of Labor before he resigned and went to the hockey league for an undisclosed amount of money. Right, this is our government, y'all. When I walked in the White House, actually when I left the White House, I already knew 3 years ago that we were doing. I'm like, I sat next to Joe Biden, he sat right here. And I'm gonna tell you now, I can't remember the shit he said to me. It was that bad. And I'm looking like, anybody else in this room don't see that something's wrong here? And Kamala's like this, like, what do you mean? Like, I want to hold Jeff Bezos accountable. I didn't come here for none of this shit. But they gave me a pamphlet and a chocolate. Say, go about your business. And then the next day he went out and said, he's the most pro-union president in history. Yeah, used the photo op. The next day he went out and did the thing. And we all know that's a lie. The Biden administration failed us. And you know, it's sad to say, but our labor movement has failed us.
True.
Because not only did we make history that year, I know y'all heard of the Starbucks workers. Starbucks United made history that year. Trader Joe's United made history that year. Apple workers, Google workers, all these workers were unionizing in history that year. It wasn't just us. And the labor movement only contributed 3% of their resources to all of these historical campaigns, including ours. That is a damn shame. Because we kicked down the door and they should have rushed it. And this is why we're in this situation that we're in now. Where union density in America is in the gutter. Less than 6% in the private sector, less than 10% in the public sector. How many of y'all in the union? Raise your hand. Amazing. Should be everybody.
Yeah.
We all should be in the union. We all should have the right to organize. We all should have the right to strike. And we all have the right to withhold our labor. Our union density is in the trash. America is at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to union membership. And how many of y'all got a passport? That's what I'm talking about. You need more. Do y'all know that 70% of Americans don't have a passport? I was one of them. It's not. It's very common. 70% of Americans don't have a passport. You don't even know what to go over the border, what it's like to go see what universal health care is like. But yeah, we want to build a wall. Make it make sense, right? Since I got my passport 3 years ago, I've been to 45 different countries. And I learned real quick that we've been duped here. Some of the countries I've been to, as mentioned, I've been to Cuba. I met the president, Miguel Diaz. I met some of the most amazing people down there. It relit my fire. I brought my union with me. It relit the fire in them as well. And then I went to, I tried to go to Gaza. Y'all might have heard about that. And I'm not done. I'm just getting started. But what I'm getting is that countries that I visited with multi-party governments, more militant unions, mostly socialist, communist led. Yeah, I know, I'm doing something. And the difference is their union membership. Some of these countries I visited got 90% union density. 90%. Some of them 95%. Everybody's in the union. Actually, there's so many unions that they're fighting over which union to join. And every worker has a voice, has direct access to their government through their union. That's why when we saw in Italy, when they called that general strike, and they brought out 3 million people, and they shut down their entire economy. You know why it works? It's not because Italy doesn't have the highest union density. You know why it works? Because those unions understand investing into grassroots efforts. They understand the power of the student movement. I was there, on the ground. And I can tell you exactly how it worked. The federation, one of the largest federations for Italy, called the general strike, and the people followed. That's it. It wasn't no, oh, we need mutual aid. Oh, we need infrastructure. Oh, we need a plan. No. They understand the assignment. They understand that genocide is wrong. They understand that the slaughter of over 680,000 Palestinians is wrong. They have moral compass. They understand. And when the unions called that general strike, I'm not even saying every university was occupied, because it was. Every high school was occupied in Italy. Every single high school. Younger age. You understand? Students, you guys are leading the way. You have real power. It's untapped, trying to keep going, but it's there. Students walked out, universities closed, high schools closed, mom and pop businesses closed, transportation closed, dock workers closed. So people ask me this all the time, how the hell did you end up talking about Palestine? I'm gonna go back to tell you our side story first. I'm a 9/11 survivor. I live in New York, greater area. Even though I'm from New Jersey, Manhattan is my backyard. It's literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from me. My whole entire life. My mom been working at Mount Sinai Hospital for the last 25 years in New York City. And during 9/11, I was in middle school as a kid. And I remember that day clear as day. I was called to the office, watching the news like everybody else. They told me to call my mom. I called on the landline because there wasn't no cell phone. And dial tone, couldn't get through. Meanwhile, watching the destruction of the Twin Towers. I'm panicking, don't know, I'm a kid, don't know what's going on. And long story short with that is my mom didn't get home till about midnight. So could you imagine not even knowing if your mom's alive or she survived or how she's gonna get out of New York City because they closed off all of the bridges. And thankfully my mom did come home. And then I saw the propaganda around Islam and Muslim population and Arab community. I seen it firsthand. And I'm gonna shout out one of my summer school teachers who put me on the propaganda and how it works. In summer school that summer, he said, we're not gonna learn anything. We're gonna watch this documentary called Loose Change. And I was like, oh shit, the government is lying to us, right? And this is me as a kid. So I already consciously as a kid, I knew that the government is lying and that Muslim, the Arab community, these are our brothers and sisters. I see them every day in my community. They are right here with me. There's no way in hell that deemed terrorists. So this is before, years before. But when it comes to Palestine, 3 years ago, I was in Concordia University in Canada with one of the most prominent figures in Palestine, Dr. Mustafa Bourgadi. And he gave a powerful lesson on the history of Palestine going back to the first Nakba. And he invited me to Jerusalem right after that panel discussion that we both did. And I was set to go. I was on my way to go. Before October 7th, I was going to go to Palestine, go to Jerusalem, do some work with him, his organization. And I was so excited. And just from my traveling around the world, I learned from meeting other trade unions, especially in Greece and the Middle East, and understanding that trade unions have always been a part of the resistance movements for Palestine since the first lockdown. Did y'all know that trade unions were essentially humanitarian aid organizations before humanitarian aid organizations existed? It's trade unions. Palestine is a working class country. They do have trade unions. I know plenty of their trade unionists and presidents, and I met plenty of them around the world. So learning all of this history, knowing how trade unions have been a part of their resistance and liberation, I wanted to connect those dots here in the US. Because let me tell you our story. This is a true story. October 7th, I was in Berlin, Germany, one of the largest Palestinian diasporas outside of Palestine. For those who don't know, 30 to 40,000 Palestinians live in Berlin. And they have, yeah, it's true. They have a large community over there. Strong community at that. And I was out there with my comrades from the Anti-Violence movement. And I was out there watching for an entire week during October 7th, the Nazi police kettled in this community, drag kids away. I know y'all may have seen videos of kids being arrested in Germany. I was there. Pulling kids away from their parents, zip tying Palestinians in front of me. They set up tables in the street just like the Holocaust. If you watch that movie, Schindler's List, when they set up the table, when they put the list out, and they called them in the line one by one, they did the same exact thing right in front of me. And I pulled out my phone and I'm like, yo, I need to tell all of this. And I did. I shared my experience on Instagram. And you can go look right now, it's still there. And when I shared this experience, I lost 10,000 followers overnight. Lost another 10,000 on Twitter X as well. People who say, oh, I supported you for Amazon, but this is where I draw the line. Shame. Oh, don't worry. You know what my response was? Fuck you. Because how many of y'all in this room lost something for talking out about Palestine? Have you lost friends? Opportunities, family, yes. You lost something. I don't have a job, y'all. I got fired 5 years ago. I don't have no health insurance. I have nothing. And when I spoke out about Palestine, the only income I do have is if I do speaking engagements. That's my only way I can survive, is by me trying to educate and plant seeds around the world. Do you know I wasn't booked not one time the entire year after Palestine? I lost so many opportunities. Overnight, thousands of followers, people who said they supported me, got lives or whatever. And I said, this is a familiar feeling. Just like what we took on Amazon and nobody believed in us. They came back around, them same people that unfollowed me, they followed me right back. You know, when you're organizing you can't be mad at the other person all the time because it's not that they're wrong, they're misinformed. And sometimes you gotta be available for when they're ready to have that conversation. The best accountability is availability. The reason why we were able to beat Amazon, a $2.2 trillion company, is because we were there to have that conversation when that worker was ready. Just imagine, for 2 or 3 months, people will walk past me, cursing me out, saying, I don't want to hear that shit about the union. I don't want to talk to you about, I don't want to take your pamphlet, no. But the day they get that write-up from management, what about that union again? So, if I wasn't at that bus stop, at that encampment, that's a missed opportunity. Just because we're radicalized in the room, don't mean that our loved ones, our friends and family are. It's a process. And as I told you, this is a lifetime fight. So you gotta be there when they're ready to have that conversation. They'll come to realize like, oh yeah, you was right. Take some time, it's growing pains or whatever. But once again, this was a familiar feeling when those folks decided to jump ship on me. So fast forward to this past summer. The Flotilla. There's multiple reasons why I got on the Flotilla. You're looking at the only labor leader in this country right now who's banned from Israel for 100 years. Now we're at the badge moment. Shout out to Columbia University because when I went and joined them on day 1, week 1 in Columbia when they started their encampments, I ended up on Canary Mission. So you're looking at the only labor leader on Canary Mission. Not maybe the only, there might be some other ones, but I'm the very first. And multiple reasons why I jumped on this flotilla right away because we all were inspired by, or we might have saw the one before the Handala, the Madeleine with Greta Thunberg and Thiago and Yasmin.
Yeah,
That's right. Those are my people. Thiago, yeah, shout out Thiago, shout out Brazil. I was there last year as well. And you know, I reached out to them while they were on the flotilla trying to, you know, say, yo, how can I get on the next one? No response, obviously. But I was fortunate enough to reach out to Huwaida Hurrah, who is the co-founder of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. She's a Palestinian American. She lives in Detroit. She's the GOAT. She started the ISM movement, the International Solidarity Movement. She started the Freedom Flotilla Coalition over 17 years ago. She been on over a dozen flotillas. She survived the 2010 flotilla that was when the IOF boarded and killed 10 of the activists. And she still continues to go. She was on the Handala with me. That's how powerful this woman is. And she just went again a few weeks ago. Y'all didn't even know that there was another flotilla after the Global Saloon that she was on. And this woman started this initiative as a Palestinian. She pledged to the people of Palestine that she will continue this flotilla initiative until we break the illegal siege that Israel has imposed. It didn't start October 7th. Israel has always controlled the borders of Palestine. That's right. But it's not about delivering aid. Because even if we break the siege and deliver the aid, it's not enough to feed the entire population. We know that. And even if we are able to break that siege, we got to talk about rehabilitation. Because that's what a lot of people are not talking about. We want to break the siege, we want to deliver aid, but these people are going to need rehabilitation, which is going to take years and decades. But Huwaida called me in July and said, Chris, I'm leaving tomorrow if you want to go. I had 24 hours to make a decision, not even hesitate. I had a conversation with just my twins, And I said, I'm going on this flotilla. Don't be worried. I'll be back. I love you. I didn't tell my union. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell nobody. I just jumped on because I knew the importance of this mission. Once again, I jumped on the Handala as a black man because our black community has been told another stigma, that this ain't our fight. Sit this one out. Guess what, black people? We heard this before. 5 years ago when George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery was murdered, black people, sit this one out, let the white people step up. White people to the front of the line, right? And when we're talking about capitalism, how does capitalism work? In the words of Malcolm X, can't have capitalism without racism, right? Right. And when you talk about capitalism, how does it work? Fear, doubt, and division. They don't want us to come together. They want us to be divided. They create this fear because they don't want us to speak up, fight back, and create doubt like, oh, Amazon's unorganizable, it's impossible. That's the doubt. Oh, free in Palestine, it's never going to happen. That war has been going on forever. Heard those type of stigmas before as well. That's the doubt. We can't allow those stigmas to hold us back. So, I got on this flotilla, and for those who don't know as well, Palestinian liberation has always stood with the civil rights movement. They got the Black Panthers alone. They used to put our newsletters together. Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, going to Gaza in 1964. It's in our history. I know it's not really taught to us in the classrooms, but it's there. They always stood hand in hand together. The civil rights movement and Palestinian liberation together. Always. So I'm just carrying that. Black man, trade unionist, as an Amazon worker. Most importantly, as an American citizen whose tax-paying dollars is going towards this genocide. We all should be pissed off. Billions of dollars that we know we can use right here. Especially in California, we already know. The homelessness crises, all these things could be solved with $1 billion. But they choose not to do that. So me getting on the flotilla was to spread awareness to multiple communities, but also to connect the dots because people don't know how invested Amazon is into this genocide and how labor is being complicit in the U.S. Every 15 hours, weapons from the U.S. goes to Israel. And that touched the hands of unionized workers at the docks or at the manufacturing factories. It's a damn shame. It's more than that. It's disgusting because the blood is on their hands as well. And that starts with the leadership of these unions.
Hey.
Yeah.
So, it is a shame, but what do we got to do?
Organize.
I love the feedback, yes. Yeah, we got to organize, but we got to do more than organize. Direct action gets the goods.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, right? And the sacrifice is going to take. Because I can tell you, as somebody who sacrificed his job, who's put his body on the line multiple times, that's what it takes. What are you in this room willing to sacrifice for the movement? What are you willing to contribute to the movement? What more are you willing to give to the movement? Palestinians don't want our sympathy. They have their own voices. They have their own resistance. They always have. They want our solidarity.
Yeah.
And labor is supposed to be the shield for the working class. It doesn't say except for Palestinians. So the U.S. labor movement hasn't shut down any ports. The only resolution that was passed major on the federal level was passed over a year ago, ceasefire, which we all know that ain't real. And that's it for the last 2 years. Still, as we speak, weapons are being shipped. So it's up to the people to hold our labor movement accountable. So a few weeks ago, you may have saw I stormed the AFL-CIO, which is the largest U.S. federation for trade unions in America. They represent 12.5 million workers in over 60 unions nationwide and internationally. And we gave them a 7-day demand to fully divest, to condemn Israel for their war crimes, condemn them on the assault of a labor leader, myself, and most importantly, shut down every U.S. port in the U.S., from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah. 7 days. I gave them a week, but they didn't do it.
Of course, we expected that. So I said, you know what? We are going to mobilize again. So I'm not here just to deliver this speech. I'm here to deliver a call to action.
Right now,
Tell you another gem that's about to happen. November 28th and November 29th, Italy has called another general strike. And guess what? I've been on the phone for the last few weeks talking with those trade union leaders, and we are doing collectively together an International Day of Action for Palestine on Black Friday, right here in the U.S.
I'm here now. This one from the Bay Area.
You from the Bay Area? All right, we're going to be home for the holidays? All right, cool. Guess what? We're going to be protesting and rallying outside of the ILWU in the Bay Area.
Fuck yes.
That's right. It is good. At the same time, on the East Coast, I'm going to be leading the protest in front of the ILA on the East Coast.
Get 'em.
At the same time, Italy is going to be on a general strike.
We're all doing this together to call out the labor movement of the world.
So, assignment, homework assignment. First things first, disarmgenocide.org. Go sign our petition. Second thing, share it. Need more people to sign it. Third thing, get involved. Help me out. This port's all up and down California.
Everything's right here.
Right here, right? I've heard. So, get involved. We have a group. We have a coalition. If you're a union or non-union, we need you. And if you can make it to the action in San Francisco, pull up. If you're on the East Coast, if anybody's in New Jersey, come find me. We need students. We need grassroots movements. We need everybody. This is your fight. We all have a role to play. Because if you don't do anything, your silence, your complicity is equal to death. So, when we leave here today, ask yourselves a few questions. If you don't get up and do the work, who's going to do it? Because I ask myself that question every day. If Chris Smalls don't get up and sleep in the airport and come to San Diego to share this with y'all,
Who is going to do it? If you don't get up and go set up an encampment on campus,
who is going to do it? So the revolution is here. We in America, so it's a little slow. Retroactive. We gotta wait for shit to get really bad before we actually, crash out. I was about to crash out last night, but the revolution starts with yourself.
Yeah.
No amount of money, no amount of evil in the world can amount to the power of people when we come together, y'all. Love and solidarity.
I love y'all. Power to the people.
All right, everybody, give it up for Ismail. Before you leave, a few more points before you leave. The most important thing, we're gonna rally, we're gonna march right now from outside the theater to Quran Plaza. We're gonna do a banner drop. There's 3 other cities in California coordinating this banner drop with us that we're gonna be doing a social media campaign with. So march with us. We have signs, we have speakers, we have chants. Just wait for us out here. The other thing, we have an action at the board meeting this Thursday at Mesa College. Come help us support free speech. The other thing, shout out to Sean Ryan and the facilities team, to Mike and the theater team, to Ricky and Caesar at the communications department. We hounded them for this to happen and they made it happen for us. So SJP at City College, we're doing the work here. This is our full-time job. If you want to join us, join us. If you want to do similar work, start your own club or start a student club. And you just start calling people and you start asking for things and it all happens. So thank you all for being here. What am I missing?
Tuesdays, MS 463, that is SJP. Please, if you like this at all, please come check us out. Get involved. This is the way to be motivated. Follow us over to the banner drop right now. If you're motivated by Chris Smalls, please go. This is a way to plant the seed. And remember to take this to your outside families and everything in your circles and spread the wisdom and the knowledge. Check us out, SJP, every Tuesday, 2:15, MS 463. Thank you so much, everyone.
Shout out to CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Shout out to the Center on Policy Initiatives. If y'all want to start a union, reach out to those guys.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you there. 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. I'm timing you.
Whoa.